Hey there. How are you? You're muted.
There we go.
There we go.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
You look beautiful. Hey, how did you make that little video while people are in the waiting room?
Yes, I don't do it by myself. I have a team of people that help me get that done. So
I
yeah,
really like that. Yeah.
yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Thank you. Yes. I made a lot of changes. I grew some, you got to learn how to pivot in your business, right?
Well, that's how I started all this. COVID hit and I was teaching offline for years and years, and I had to learn Zoom, and I took all these classes, and I got everything online, and I'm still learning. And I only take tech classes because I don't really need spiritual and all that because I meditated all my life, but I always need tech. So are you hanging out with your family today?
No, my family, they either worked or we have a sick 4-year-old grandson that had to come back from his other grandparents early. So my daughter's at the emergency room with him. He's got a double ear infection.
Oh
Husband
no.
worked. So no, I've worked all day. So
That's what I did too. I've been going through manuscripts all weekend, and I have several clients I've helped publish their books in July, and now 3 books this month, last August, and now more this month. I'm really having fun helping people figure out the puzzle.
yeah, that's awesome. So we have other people in the waiting room, but I'll wait another minute to let them in before. So
And let's talk about the Cinderella monologues. I have my book. You probably have your book.
yes, I always have my book right next to me. Yes.
I know.
Where did you go?
Oh, you know what? Every time I touch that table, I got to
Oh,
put the every time I touch the table,
it did
my
it again. Yes.
it's really bad. I've got to move it over here. Leave it over here. There. Let's see if that does it. No, it does it. This is a weird microphone. I gotta get a different one. It's a good one though, but oh well.
All right. Now, okay. Now you're blurry.
Blurry.
You weren't, but now you are.
Oh boy. Let's look. How's that?
Much better now. Yes. Yes. So I want you to take like 15 to 20 minutes, 25 minutes at the most, whatever you're comfortable with, and talk about, tonight's Monday Mojo. So put a little bit about, how writing can help your mindset, writing can help you unblock things.
Yeah.
Writing can be so great to, even if you don't write all your book right now, write a chapter, like you always tell us, just write that chapter. The rest will come when you're ready. Things like that. So people know that they don't. I think so many people think they got to write a whole book.
I know. And that 2 hour slot. So we'll talk about that little slot. Ask those questions if I miss anything,
Oh, I will. I will. I will. And then we'll have question and answer so they can ask you questions
Okay.
and comments. So, all right, it's 6:01. So I'm going to let everyone in. So sorry about the baby. She'll stop.
I have 3 dogs. No worries. No worries on my part.
Yeah. Hello, hello. Here they come. Here they come. Woo-hoo. Hello, Olia. How are you?
I'm good. I may not be able to stay the whole time because I have a licensing class I got to go to as well, but I wanted to stop in and see how everything was going. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. Why is everyone here? See, everyone's not following in. You must have been the chosen one to come first. There we go. There comes everyone. Yay.
My puppy's over here like, Mom, why are you at meetings? Stop it. I'm like,
Awesomeness. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. While we're waiting on everyone to come in, let's go ahead and fire up that chat. Let's put in your information, your email, your Calendly link, your phone numbers, whatever it is that you want to give us so that we can reach out to you when we want to, need to, inspire to. We want everyone connecting. Hello, hello. Kimya, we're just putting in the chat your email, phone number, Calendly links, anything you want to put in there for us to reach out to you. Everyone, please do that. It's the worst thing when you want to go and you want to reach out and then you can't find someone. You have to go dig. You have to go dig to find their information. Because, you know, some people are on Facebook, but they're not on LinkedIn and vice versa. And some of us are on both. So, yes. So let's get that information into the chat, at least your email and phone number. Calendly links would be great, or whatever your the links that we use to connect with you. And we want to get started with our pin to published fabulous author publisher Mila Johansen. We want to give her 20 to 25-ish minutes to speak. Tell us how we can help our mojo by writing. Lift our spirits, get wiser. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Mila, come on down. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I adore LaDonna. You know, she was in 2 of my compilation anthology books, and she's a joy to work with because you know what? She's one of those people who does everything you say. And I was just being interviewed for a magazine today, and they asked me, what is the greatest joy of teaching, writing, and publishing to people? And I said, it's when they do everything I say and they become a success. I've had several people this summer do that, and we're publishing their books. We published 3 books in July and 2 books in August, and we're publishing 2 more. And most of the people who did everything I said are actually doing it and becoming successful with their books, and I'm excited. That's so exciting to see that happen. And I always say I'm the first person who will buy your book. So as soon as they get their book up on Amazon, I buy their book immediately. Even people I've worked with before that I didn't help go all the way through. So it's a lot of fun. My company's called From Pen to Published, and that's what it does. We can help anybody who is writing from very beginning, wherever they come. Sometimes they go, I have a half written. And a man came to me in March and said, I have it all written, but I need you to do developmental editing. And he was missing a lot, you know. It's funny when you read your own material, you fill in with your mind and you think you wrote it all. And even me, I have beta readers. I go, tell me what I'm missing. And they go, we want more description, or where did the girl live after that? Or what happened to the man, you know? And so that's what I do, is developmental editing with people, you know, make sure their plot holds water. And it's a lot of fun. It's, you know, and I would encourage anyone to write. And I'm the just start queen. I've had tons of articles written about me, and they always end up titling them Just Write, or Just Start, or Just Do It. And so I'm giving people permission to write the short book. Like, here's one of my short books. It's 70 pages. And because a lot of people think, oh, I got to get the 2 hours in, and I've got to write this long 500-page book. And, you know, we're not doing missionary anymore. The longest book we're putting out lately is like 200 to 300 pages. And so I'll go through the quick rundown of Amazon. You know, Amazon, this is amazing, is completely free to publish on. The only thing I really would encourage you to pay is for the editor, and that can be a pretty penny because we don't want to put more bad books out there. But the shortest book that you can write and put on Amazon with a spine, it's nice to have a little bit of a spine, is 36 pages. And anyone can write a 36-page book in a day or 2 and work on it for a week or 2, get it edited and publish it in 2 weeks. Any of you could do that. And a lot of people are using the short book to show expertise, to give away, and to sell their courses and their classes. And that's what I'm doing. I think I gave away 5,000 of these in summits and podcasts that I spoke at before I put it into an actual book. And so that was exciting to have that happen. And that's how I built my email list. And so what happened was, COVID hit, And I was just publishing my grandmother's book, From Cowgirl to Congress. And right then, that minute, that March, and I had to pivot. I had been teaching offline for centuries, well, for decades. And I started learning all I could. I learned about Zoom. I started learning tech. I took all these classes. I thought, well, while I'm sitting here for months and months locked up in my house, besides my walks, I will learn things. And so I reinvented myself as an online teacher because I've always been a teacher. It's what I do. It's fun. I mean, I love teaching, and I know how to like take in information, break it down, and give it to you right away. I used to teach in a class of 24 computers, and someone would ask a question that maybe I didn't know the answer to. So I'd give them a task. I'd go on the computer, look it up, and teach it in 10 minutes. I mean, that's that's what teachers do. And so anyway, back to the short book. I am giving people all over the world permission to write the short book first, because you can use it, like I said, to show expertise, or you can use it, as LaDonna's been learning, as the outline for the longer book. And a lot of people say, well, the short book, I thought you think I have to write this big book. I've got to work 2 or 3 hours, and I don't have 2 or 3 hours. I always say 20 minutes. And that's the word on the street. 20 minutes a day is all we ask. Toni Morrison, the great novelist, said that she only had 15 minutes a day on her first novel because she had children and she had to work. And so she wrote her novel in 15 minutes a day. So think about that. 15 minutes, 20 minutes can add up to a novel. And I say even 5 minutes. Just don't think you have to have those big 2 hours. I used to think I'd have an hour or two to go to the gym. Now I walk in my suit, my shoes, whatever I'm wearing, I get on the treadmill for 20 minutes and I walk out. So it's the same thing with writing. Now, the 36-page book, all of you could probably attain that, you know what I'm saying. And then the next one that is a good one to do is 98 pages, because with 98 pages, there's enough room on the spine to put your title of your book and your name. Until then, you can't do that, put it on the spine. And then a lot of people are opting to write the comfortable 120 to 135 pages. And those, that's sort of just a short book. My dog book. I don't want to reach for it because my computer's sensitive today, and every time I touch it, my camera goes off. So tell me if that happens. So anyway, and then if you're going to do a longer book, a lot of people are doing, like I said, the 200 to 250 to 300 pages. So think short, think small. And here's what I do. I teach the modular system, because, and this is what's so great, is you can all do this. I have, if I was at home, you'd see all my plays behind me, and I wrote them into long, beautiful plays and musicals for our theater company here, 22 of them. But then I realized that most schools didn't have time to practice an hour and a half long play. So I cut them to medium and short, and I got ruthless, and I got really good at cutting. And the short ones were just as good as the long ones in the end. So I'm going backwards on that when I'm teaching writing and publishing and giving you permission to do that. So you write your 36-page book first, then your 98-page, then your 125, and then maybe you want to go on to the 200-page book. And that way, but you don't take down the smaller books, you keep them up, because the more books you have on Amazon, the more you build your algorithms. So I know you probably all have ideas for books. So maybe in the chat, put an idea that you have for a book that would be your passion book, that you would like to write, whether it's about business, a memoir, a novel, just kind of put the idea in there. Is the genre, there's so many different genres. Some people want to do children's books. A lot of people want to write their memoir. And I say, write your memoir for your children. Even if they don't want to read it now, they will later. And LaDonna was in my memoir class, and she's been doing 2 of her stories and some other books too. And now LaDonna is, what I'm suggesting for her to do is take those stories from all the anthologies she's been in and put them into one book and publish that. And so that's, so put those in the chat. Good. And then LaDonna, you want to read some of those off, what people wrote in there? Because I don't want to touch my computer so it won't go off.
Yes. Let's see here. My story as an adoptee who left their family for a better chance at life.
Good story. That'd be a good one.
Exciting. Yes, yes. And Dar says artist trading cards. She wants to do a book on that.
Wow. Informative.
Marla, oh, this will be a good one. The ups and downs of being a speaker.
We
Wow.
need that. We
Yeah.
need that.
Abby, I have been writing an article on technology.
And you
That
should
will
expand
be
that into a book, because a lot of times I'm telling people, take your articles you already wrote, make a book, take your blogs. I had a woman who had 500 blogs and they were so well written. I said, hey girl, you have 5 books there. We started making books out of them. It turns out she has 20 books. Are there any more there?
no, but I could see Kimya, I could see that you could write about what you do all day long, because you have so much material that you give out and so much training. So I could see Kimya writing on what she does. Oh, she says I have a couple already published and working on a 4.
Good, good,
There
good.
you go. And Teresa says, I took a memoir class 15 years ago and want to continue writing. She recently went through a horrible health trauma and her oldest son passed this year. So she has a lot to write about. Yes, you
That's
do.
hard. Well, and you know, in an easy way to do that, I really, I'm just starting a new anthology, the same anthology that LaDonna was in, the Cinderella monologues. Whoa, there it is, the Cinderella monologues. And what I do is I'm in all the anthologies I can be in, because it gives me exposure. And the great thing about the anthologies is you only have to write a chapter. And now LaDonna has 3 or 4 chapters from being in anthologies, and I'm really encouraging her to put them into the book and publish it right away, because she took the class where we teach you exactly blow by blow how to publish right on Amazon, which is super easy. You just have to follow the directions. And if you get stuck, you can go to YouTube and take a tutorial. And there's a lot to it, though. There's a lot of layers as far as advertising and becoming a bestseller and recording that. But still, you could still figure it out yourself and do it. Sometimes people come work with me, and after a couple of months they go, well, I could do this. So they go on and they do it. Some people want me to hold their hand all the way through. But being in an anthology, if you can be in one, or many of you probably have been in them, then you only have to write 1 chapter, and the person organizing the anthology does all the work. And it doesn't cost that much. I mean, even if, I know anthologies can run from, like, you know, the sort of an investment of $500 to $2,000, and some people are charging $7,000, some people $20,000. I can't understand that, but the thing is, so you can do that. What I'm going to be doing is putting together this is a sample book. This is one of the great attributes of Amazon, is they'll give you samples so you can look at your book. I usually do 2 or 3 samples before I publish a book. And so we're going to be doing the 2nd edition of the Cinderella monologues, and you're all invited to look at the information that LaDonna probably will post today about that. And so what happens is you write your chapter, we edit it, we put it in with your bio. We do these beautiful, let me see if I can find one, beautiful bio pages with pictures. This woman lives in China. She's from Jamaica. And so we do your picture and your bio, and we do this beautiful book, and we make them really beautiful inside, you know, with the right margins and really good, you know, fonts, and that's a lot of fun. So something for you to think about is to be an anthology. You can be in mine, you can be in someone else's, you can do your own anthology and of a subject you want. Maybe I'm doing a cookbook for a group of women called the Garden Goddesses right now. And I have a team of people who work with me, a very small team, and one woman that works with me is doing the design for that. So, you know, maybe you just want to write a recipe for a book, or maybe you want to write a poem for a book, but then you become a published author. And I know many of you probably already are published authors, but you can't be published too much. And writing these it's so freeing. It's the best way to get your mojo going is to write and feel powerful in that. And remember, it doesn't have to be great writing in the beginning because we have editors. And the great thing about that is that I tell people, blather it down as fast as you can, good, bad, or ugly, or beautiful, and fix it later. I work with a mentor from Comic-Con many years ago before COVID hit. And I would take his class every year for 8 years. And he always said that what he did, he would write from 8 to 12 every day. And in that time period, he would not allow himself to do any editing or research, which is really important because I will hide behind my editing and my research. And a lot of people do. So even if you're going to only write 20 minutes, don't allow yourself to do any editing or research during that time period. Make sure that you have that as dedicated writing time. That's what he taught me. And I love that, even though he did 4 hours a day, and he puts out a book a month, which is amazing, a major book, but he does an outline. There's two kinds of writers. There's outliners and there's pantsers. And you got to think about, are you an outliner or a pantser? I've been a pantser all my life, but recently I wrote a book that I outlined and it came together so fast that now I'm a little bit more of an outliner. Maybe I'm both. There's a term for it. I can't remember what it is when you're both an outliner and a pantser. So it's just something to consider. You know, you don't have to have an outline. A lot of people say don't prepare too much because you'll spend your time doing that and you'll hide behind that, and you don't want to do that. Barbara Kingsolver, you know, the famous novelist, said, give yourself permission to write a bad book and then work on it until it's a good book. And what she means is blather it down. Try not to write properly. Try not to work on spelling or grammar. Just get your words down because we can fix it later. But getting those ideas on the page sometimes is the hardest, at least hardest to start. So the main thing is to start with that 5 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, and write. Even if you're just going to write in a diary, that's fine. In fact, I'm helping some people turn their diaries into books. I mean, you know, there's so many ideas. Some people are turning their radio shows, the transcripts, into books. So there's a lot of ways of looking at it. I'm teaching a class soon. I'll tell LaDonna so she can invite all of you, with Dr. L, the parent whisperer. He does all these classes, and I think they're like $5 to join or something. And I'm teaching a class soon on how to use all the material you may already have. Like you know, you took the memoir class, and maybe you started your memoir. And maybe you have a lot of good stuff. Sometimes I think, oh, this is so bad, I don't even want to read it. I go back and read it, and it's always better than I thought. So remember that on your own writing. It will probably be better than you think. So whatever you do, don't let anything stop you. That's the main thing, is to get it down. Get those words on the page, either handwritten or, you know, typing on the computer. When I handwrite, bigger ideas come through, deeper ideas, almost better ideas. But I can't always handwrite. So mainly I type on the computer. But when I go on vacation, I take a notebook, and some ideas come through that are amazing. In fact, at Harvard, they aren't allowing computers, in many colleges, they aren't allowing computers in the classrooms anymore, because they found out that when people take notes, handwritten, they retain the information. And I think that's what's happening when I write with my pen and paper, is new ideas are coming through, more character development. And so that's another idea for you. So there's a lot to it, but I wouldn't let it stop you. One thing you can do right away to get started is join KDP. KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. It's the publishing arm of Amazon. It's a completely different website from Amazon, but it's the same password as your Amazon account that you buy from. So I know it's confusing. And when you go on there, if you join now, my one mentor told me years ago, join before a year or so before you are going to publish, because they have so many attributes in there. They have KDP University with tons of tutorials and templates. So you get a template and type right into the template. Industry standard right now is 6x9. So you want to get a 6x9 template. If you're going to do a workbook or a journal, you may want to do an 8x10. We're doing the cookbook in 8x10, and we're doing color, which costs twice as much as a regular book. But they do full color for fairly reasonable. So, it's something to think about. If you could join KDP, they will ask you for a debit card because they want to know where to pay you later. But the great thing is you can start taking tutorials, learn all about it, get a template, type right into the template. That's what I suggest. So there's a lot to it. I don't know if you have any questions, but there it's something you can do yourself. It's easy enough you can do yourself, and yet there's a lot of layers to it if you want to go deeper.
Oh, that sounds so exciting, Mila, and I know it is because I've been through a couple of your courses. So Marla has her hand up. Marla.
Yeah, hey Mila, it's great to meet you. I've heard lots about you.
Oh,
And so I've been a member of KDP for about 10 years because I started my
good,
book a long time
good.
ago. But so things may have changed, but what I remember is that you have to have some exclusivity if you want to advertise with them at all, I think is what it was. So I'm wondering if these days, if there's better places besides KDP, because then you could be in 2 or 3 or 4 places at one time.
KDP is only exclusive with your ebook and KDP Select if you join it. If you don't join it, you can put your ebook and everything on your website and everywhere else. If you use their ISBN number, which is free, then you can't sell your book in other online places. You can sell it in person. And one of the best places to sell books is when I speak in person. I speak at women's groups. I speak at book clubs. Almost everyone buys a book then. I just spoke to a women's group, 40 women at a luncheon, and almost every one of them bought the book. So I buy the book from Amazon at my author price for $4.50. I sell it to them for $15, which it's usually $17.95. So I make a pretty penny that day when I go speak at these places. And so, but I don't think there are better places. I have been looking into digital, I can't remember, Two Digital something. Anyway, I've been looking into that because we had a speaker come to our writers group. And that way you can get your books onto Kobo and Apple and everything automatically. But you can still do that through Amazon. But what I do, and I do suggest you do if you want to sell at other places than Amazon, is to get your own ISBN number through Bowker, Bowker, Bowker. It's a little more expensive now. It's $300 for 10 ISBNs. Don't buy one. One will not be worth it. That'd be like $50 or something. Buy 10 because you need one for your paperback and your hardcover, but not your ebook. You don't need an ISBN for your ebook. But you can't advertise through Amazon unless for your ebook, unless you sign up with their KDP Select. So I sign up and it goes for 3 months and it rolls over until you get out of it. But you can go in and do a sale. I stay in there because I do a sale every 3 months and it really punches up my book sales. I know a woman who was traditionally published. She's one of my mentors. I take all her classes. She's amazing. I think it's Melissa, I can't remember her name. Anyway, she does Fussy Librarian. Fussy Librarian is the newsletter that a lot of us advertise through. And she does it through KDP Select with the ads. And she gives away like 5,000 books. And the giveaway is stronger than the 99-cent sale they have, but that's good too. There's some layers to that. But anyway, she makes it because she has a series, and series are really in right now. She gives away about 5,000 books every time she does a sale. I mean, sells 5,000 books. And that's because she has a series. And that happens to me too. Now that I have a lot of books on Amazon, they come for my sale for my one book, my free book, but they'll buy some of my other books. So it's kind of like they feed each other. It's kind of like a beehive. So I don't know if that answers your question well enough, Marla.
Yeah, that was a lot. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Marla. And then Phyllis asked, when you write a book, does it have to go on Amazon?
No, there are other ways of doing it. I think Book Baby's still out there and Lulu. And Ingram Spark, we've been struggling with Ingram Spark lately, but that is the only place that libraries and bookstores will buy your book. My grandmother's book about being the famous suffragette from cowgirl to Congress, I just want to pick it up so my internet, so my picture doesn't go off. But I just did a sale on it for the August 18th, 103rd anniversary of women in America winning the right to vote. She was the lobbyist for the movement, and she was there, fly on the wall. And she in that book, because the anniversary came up, quite a few of them sold on Ingram Spark to a bookstore. But still, I only made like $40 because they give it to them wholesale, and they only give you a third of that. So Ingram Spark is good if you really want to make sure that your books are going to be sold in bookstores and available to libraries. But if you're not worried about that, I'd stay with Amazon. I think Amazon's the best. You know what's great about Amazon? They give us a web page. I could show you if my thing wasn't going well. And so if anytime you go on and look up a book, like LaDonna, look up Cinderella monologues and put it up. Here's a web page they give us for free. It's all these attributes they just give us, and they give you an author with your picture. What? Sorry. Oh, anyway, so I really believe in Amazon. I think it's the best because they give us so much for free, and then you still want to sign your book up with Apple and Kobo and Barnes and Noble and all of those. I do it all. I call it real estate. Let's just put them everywhere. And I put them on my website. And the books that I have in KDP without my Bowker numbers, I'm using their numbers. Then I just put the link to Amazon there. So most of my books I sell myself and on Amazon. And I just have a buying thing that I make through my Facebook, or sometimes I make my buying through Stripe. Stripe, is it Stripe? Yeah. And then but with the numbers that are my Bowker numbers, that's what I do. But with my numbers that I use from them for free, I just use their link. I just want people to get to the book. I want people to read my books. Even if they read my books for free, I want them to read my books. It's really, really important. Was that answer to your question, Abby?
Actually, my question is there a Canadian version of Bowker?
Oh, okay, yes. And I just went through this with someone I was working with. It was in England, and I think it's Canada too. I think it's called Nelson or Nielsen. Can you look that up? I think it's called Nelson. I just went through it, and if not, you could email me later, and I'll look up the name I gave to the woman who needed it. There is exactly the same thing almost, and I think it's a comparable cost. Do you see it? Is it Nelson?
Okay. I'm looking up to see Canadian.
It would be Nelson ISBN numbers. Yeah, I got that answer a few months ago when someone asked me, so I just go look it up, Anyway, there's so much fun things you can do, and a lot of people, what they're doing is they're making their big book, maybe they're going backwards. You can go forward, backwards. Big book, then they're making the short book, and then they're to give away. And then they're also, and I do that as a PDF often, just off my computer. And then whenever I speak at summits, podcasts, I think I have a gift I gave LaDonna for us today, the 5 steps to start your book. Did I give you that for today? The gift? Oh, okay, I'll put it up. And then then they're doing workbooks to go along with their teaching book. And a workbook could be anything. It could be short, long, it can be involved. It could, what I do to learn how to do workbooks is I buy a couple in my own genre so I can look at them. I listen to books on tape because I don't have time to read specifically because I'm reading so many manuscripts. But every time I listen to a book on tape, I buy the book because I want to know what format they used. And like one book, Big Little Lies, they were doing texting. I go, well, how do I put text? I have a novel I'm putting texting into, and I wanted to see how they handled the texting. So I go right back on Amazon and buy the book too. So.
And Mila Bernard earlier said what he wants to write a book on is moving from corporate America into the entrepreneur world to build wealth, especially later in life.
Good. A lot of people are writing books about later in life right now, and you might want to do that. You know, I keep giving the people the idea of writing the bucket list, and nobody takes me up on it. So maybe you could do that too.
And I know Heather, you could always write a book on how to save money, how to get more money.
We need that book. So Abby, did you find the answer to that?
You're muted, Abby.
I found the UK version, but I haven't had found anything that was Canadian.
I think it's the same. Was it Nelson? Am I right about Nelson? Ah, good.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I would love for Phyllis to write a book on how to save money with interest and how to pay off your house faster, how to pay off those student loans quicker. That would be, see, things like that really sparks interest in people. The get to the know-how books, the Better Me books.
I want to show you this book. I just helped this person put together, which is just what you're saying. She just wrote this book, and her children went to college and both came out with $10,000 each to spend for the rest of their life. And so this is a book that does that. So I was really impressed with her. And once she was with me for about 5 sessions, she goes, well, I can do this. I'll figure it out. And so she went on and published it all herself and everything. I was really impressed with her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to look at that book and see if it helps you pay off airline pilot schools.
This is more for students. She says it starts in middle school and all through high school. And even if a kid is in their first year of college, they can still use this technique.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's amazing. I was really impressed.
Gotten so expensive. For my grandson to go to pilot school is $100,000 just for the education. That's not housing, food, anything. So I tell him he's going to have to live at home with mom and eat her food while he goes to pilot school. But schools they're getting so expensive. It's hard to imagine us paying off education. That's for sure. So I love that she put that book out to help.
And she does extreme coaching on it. I bought the book for a few of my friends who have kids who are, getting that age to get into college. And she said, if you start in 7th and 8th grade, you can get so much money. She said, there's so much money left on the table because no one knows about it. I was very interested in what she was doing. I thought she was amazing.
That's absolutely awesome. Awesome. So what other questions? Some of us have been very quiet. Bernard, do you have anything to say at this time? Any comments? Anything you would like to ask?
No, absolutely. But I'll tell you one thing, you got my gears rolling on a book.
What is it? That same one?
Well, no, just because, I was later in life when I decided, and I call it leaving the matrix. So when I decided to leave the matrix, I mean, the idea is, escape from the matrix. If I can do it, so can you. Later in life and learning different strategies. And it's such a bigger world out there. And I just want to tell people, just nothing against the educational system. You can do so much more other than getting stuck into the rat race. So, but like I said, getting my gears rolling on thinking about writing a book. Absolutely. Now it's going to help me, push a little bit more. I mean, I put a lot of notes, but deciphering them is going to be a little challenging. You guys hit words that I had no idea. Like when you're talking about ISBN numbers, and I got to bring all that up and do a little research. But my biggest thing that stuck with me, just start writing. Doesn't matter how good it is. Just put it on paper, make it horrible. And this is what I always tell people too, fail forward. So do the same thing in writing a book too. That's a good kick in my butt to get me going.
Please don't let anything stop you. Someone else said the other day, well, you always say, well, I will a little later. And then the question is when?
Right.
Now. Don't let anything stop you guys. You can do 5 minutes a day. I promise you. And a lot of people come back and they say, Mila, you tricked me because I tried 5 minutes and I did more. And that's what happened. My mother tricked me into becoming a writer. At 18, she said, I know you've always wanted to be a writer. Why don't you write one sentence a day? And I went, oh, I can write one sentence a day, but you can't. It's like potato chips. I ended up writing a page and a half a day, and I was a writer at the end of the month. So I'm
That's a good
tricking you.
analogy on the potato chips. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Heather, I'd like to hear from you. What ideas, or do you have any comments, questions? Unmute, please.
I don't have any questions. I watched my husband spend a lot of time on a very thick IT techie book, and it was just like, it was to me overwhelming. And I'm just like, I don't know if I ever want to get into writing, but I need to start journaling. I know that. So
But that's a great way to start. Journal. Because you know what? There's no better way to help your mojo than writing. I mean, really, just write. It doesn't matter if it's on a back of a card, handwriting cards to send out, journaling, notes to your kids and their lunch boxes. I used to do that to my kids in their lunch sack.
Aw.
I would say, have a great day, love you, and draw a little Snoopy because that was my favorite character. It had to be theirs. And they would, by the time they got in middle school, it was, oh, mom, you have to do that. But you know what? It was my joy in making memories for them. So see, that was just another way to write. It helped me feel better, and it did make them feel better as well. And I want to tell you the little story behind me. For my entire life, I wanted to write about my childhood to help others be able to overcome tragedies in their lives. Because I always thought if I could write a book and it could just help one person a year escape from what I did, or change their mindset on how to cope with some of these things. But I never thought, this was my thing, I'm not smart enough. I'm not capable. I wasn't a big writer in school. I didn't like English class. I wasn't good in school, so I could never write. And I had a very good friend, believe it or not, that I've never met in person, only online on social media. And she introduced me to Mila. And her and I were in the same book together, the Cinderella Monologues. And I started my book. It was just one chapter. That was the first chapter. But you know what? It's okay. I still do feel so accomplished. I've written 4 more chapters, and they're not all about my childhood, but one day I will collaborate them all together into one book. And that's all I can hope, is that it's helping someone, because I do get it out there. I speak on podcasts about it. I do different writings about it and talk about it. So yes, write with whatever you want to write about. I'm hoping to do a book on Monday Mojo and a workbook to go with it one day. I've already started putting the content together. I will just one day have to get Mila to sit down and put it all right for me. And that's okay. To need help, to think you need help, to get help. It's okay. We can't be great in everything. We've talked about this many times. For you guys that have been with me for a while, we've talked about, I don't know how to change the oil in my car. And if I Google it, I will figure it out, but it will take me all day. Why not spend the $50, go to the oil change place? They're done in 10 minutes or less. And then I'm back home. So see, we don't have to be great in everything we do. Just go find the other great people to collaborate with us, and we can do it together. So Teresa, is there anything that you would like to say at this time, or point out, comment on, question?
I'm sorry I missed the first 5 minutes. Honestly, if you hadn't sent me the link in Messenger, I didn't know how the Eventbrite worked, because every time I opened the Eventbrite, it didn't bring me to the link to the Zoom. It just didn't.
And
So
that's why I do that. That's why I do it.
So I had wanted to start a collaboration book a couple of years ago. And what you probably, Mila, didn't talk about is that when you're in charge of one and trying to get other authors, becomes like a sales job. And
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was
Yeah.
getting into when I was trying to do that, and I was hooked up with another publisher, and she's like, didn't really, I was having to search out the other people, but if you are not, I was trying to get myself hooked up with people that weren't in the same mindset as me. They didn't realize that, getting your name out there and your story out there was important enough to put the investment in. And a lot of people like me who are parents of somebody with a disability don't have the extra money to pool together, because when you have to become a part of a collaboration book, there's money that goes towards editing, putting
Yeah.
it together, all the formatting. I mean, it just doesn't happen without, other people putting in their work, and everybody needs to get compensated for that. And so I gave it up. I said, I'm not going to go out of my way to try to get these people involved in it. And then a lot of the people that I was trying to get in with it already had published their own book. They had their own blog. They were already well known, on social media. And so what it was is that in the end, I told myself that although I had freelance for a business journal for 15 years and had gone to college to become a reporter, and that career was short-lived because I married my ex-husband and had 2 small kids, and you couldn't really be a journalist, and you had to be at home at night. You're a single mom, you had to be at home at night and take care of them. So that kind of career just went off by the wayside, and I just stayed the freelance writer to keep my writing skills in check as somebody who writes news articles. And then what I told myself is I couldn't write a whole book by myself. And so I was going to start out with the collaboration way. And so after these last 2 years, I was like, no, you can write a whole book by yourself. You're just lying to yourself that you don't think you can do it, So yeah, I want to be able to do it. It's just that I've gone to enough workshops, been told how to do the outline, but I can't seem to put the outline together, and then every time I look at one chapter, I was like, oh, I'm going to write 4 or 5 pages for that chapter. I've been able to write a chapter for an anthology book, and it's really simple and easy. But then when I look at a whole book and my ADHD starts kicking in, I've only been diagnosed for a year, but I know that's what's happening to me. I just start getting overwhelmed. And then when I get overwhelmed, I just want to shut down. So
Well, one way to look at it is do one little piece at a time. Say, I'm only going to do this chapter. And I often start at the end with the last chapter. You don't have to go through like sometimes here's how I teach actually. Okay, everybody, take 10 minutes and write down a bullet list of everything you want to include in your book, whatever the genre is. Then pick the easiest one, the next 10 minutes, pick the easiest one and write it. Then pick the next easiest one and write it. So let's say I'm doing one about dogs, but leashes are 5 down, but I can do leashes because it's not real involved. So I write the one about leashes first. So think about writing the easiest one first and work your way backwards. And because I think we all feel this a little bit overwhelmed, even me. I'm working on 3 books right now. Oh, you know what I'm working on right now? You'll love this, Teresa. A book on exactly how to do anthologies blow by blow. And it's going to cost a lot of money because not everyone wants to do anthologies. And there's a lot of layers in this book. I have every little layer that most people don't know about. But that's why it's good to be in an anthology and not do an anthology, because then all the work is done for you. Oh, and one more thing I want to tell you all is that this class we're doing right now, the anthology book with the second Cinderella, is that it's 12 weeks of training. So by the end of the training, you'll be an expert at self-publishing. So mainly it's a training. Being in the book is icing on the cake. And I'm doing a memoir one starting in October. So men are in that one too. The Cinderella monologues, of course, is for women.
And Phyllis, you had a question?
I'm like you, LaDonna. I did not really enjoy English. never thought about writing. I'm not one that says, you know what, I was born, I lived, I died. I mean, you know, and what nothing in between. Somebody gave me a journal at Christmas, and here it is September, and those pages are still blank. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I guess how to get started, what to write about. I don't know.
How about one sentence a day, like my mom tricked me, and maybe it will lead to something for you.
Because you're one, you know, I remember there's a story about Phyllis that kind of puts the same inquiry that Bernard is thinking on doing. Is Phyllis left the corporate world within a day, no notice, just hands up, I'm done. I remember her telling me that. That would be an awesome story. And guess what? She has bounced back. She did just fine. So there's so many things you could write about, Phyllis.
I guess so. And in that book, I say, Bernard, don't read it when I say I didn't have a plan B, and I walked away without a plan B. No plan B. Okay. I guess, yeah, I have met so many people that have walked away from the corporate world for whatever reason, you know, so, and life did go on, you know.
Yes. You know, there's so many things in our lives that we can write about, and we just don't. I did not notice it until I started writing, you know, and now I want to write all the time, but you know, I need to keep my business going, and you know, money funneling in, and but I love writing now. I'm not saying that my sentence structure is perfect. It is not. But you know what? The docs help you with that. Mila helps you with that. It's just part of the game, as you could say. It's part of the game. And I love that Mila put in a gift for all of us, 5 easy steps to start your book. And so that may be a great way to start, Phyllis, right there and then. That may be
everything I talked about. It's just all the little steps I already said. So
yeah, a great way to start, Dars, right there. 5 steps to start your book. And there's so many things. You know, I wrote about my childhood in 2 of my books. One of my books was about my 18-year-old daughter coming home and saying, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm pregnant. How many families really go through that or something similar? And it comes with a workbook to kind of guide you through how to help. And then another one, someone asked me about being in a book about how to raise children. And they're all anthologies. So see, I have so much there. And so I know Kenya's just head is spinning about, oh, I got to finish that and I need to start that book. I know it. And Marla, I can see her head spinning on, oh, I need to finish that. I need to do that. Marla, is there anything else that you want to say about this, or questions, or?
I don't really have any more questions. I mean, this gives me a little impetus to write that 4th book for me, because my other books have nothing to do with what I do now. They're all on psychology, but I'm a public speaking coach and they're not about that. So yeah, I know I'm not the kind of person that can write a sentence a day or 5 minutes a day. When I sit down, I have so much focus. I can write for 8 hours. So for me, it's more, okay, once a week, sit down and write for 2 hours. Even that would be my style, but just getting started it's great advice.
And how about you, Kimya? What do you have to say? Questions, comments?
I don't really have any questions. I find one of the things that is helpful is speaking it, because so many people, when they sit and stare at that blank screen, that's the problem. I'm a writer. I can sit and start with a blank screen. I find that most people, that's what hangs them up. And so I always tell people, pick up your phone, hit record, and just talk. And you'd be surprised in terms of the number of words you speak versus type. I forgot what the stats are, but I spent one day, I went on talking for 45 minutes, have a 10,000 word book. and send it to the editor and let her do her magic. So really, if you're stuck with that blank screen, start by speaking it, and you'd be surprised you can get on a roll. And
How
then
do
you
you,
just
Kenya, how do you transport it to your email or whatever? How do you do that?
I use it's tons of apps now. Historically, I used otter.ai, and that's always been that's my favorite for my book. Because I can just sit on the phone and you literally see the transcript. And the key is don't look at it, just sit and talk. And so sometimes you go into a corner and, like you said, start with one sentence or 5 minutes. Just say, you know what, I'm gonna talk for 5 minutes. And you might have a lot of mumbo jumbo, but the point is you'll have a transcript and you'll have something to get started with. So that's really like the book I'm working on now. I spoke it.
I love that. And you can also do it, you guys, on Zoom. Often I'll have someone who didn't write the chapter for the book. Well, there was only 1 or 2 people. So I just got them on Zoom. I said, tell me your story for 20 minutes. 20 minutes did take me 3 hours to edit, but I had the real words, which are gold. So do it. If you don't want to do it on the phone, do it on Zoom.
And Google also has where you can do speak it in Google.
Absolutely.
Because
Word.
that's how Olivia taught me how to do that. Because I love to talk. It just became easier if I could talk myself through some of my story. And then I just went back and then I just sent it all to Mila and said, God bless you, Mila. Go at it, because, good luck. Because, I didn't know what she was going to come back with, but you know what? She did have to make some retro changes, but not as many as I thought she was. So
doesn't matter how you do it, you guys, just do it. That's the important thing. And then you have these books, some of you are published, some of you aren't, but becoming published author is very exciting. And every time I do it, it's so exciting. And when I do it for other people, it's exciting. It's like a puzzle. That's what I look at it as.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, thank you, Mila, so much. Does anyone else have questions? Dar, I haven't heard from you yet. Do you have anything to say? Unmute, please.
I wondered what that app was called again.
Otter.
Oh.
Was it Otter?
Yes, it's otter.ai. I'm dropping it in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you.
Otter, okay.
Sure.
Hey, can I ask you a question, Kenya? Do you have it on your phone?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have it on my phone. Okay, thanks for
Oh, yes. Everyone, you must put that on your phone. That is,
you know where I speak into? I speak into notes. And that
I
goes,
use notes too.
and then all you have to do is copy and paste into your email. But then
Sometimes
put it into Word, everybody. Put it into Word so you can use it. Or Drive.
But you know what? Just think about it. We all have our phones that we just think we can't live without. So why not have everything in there, right? That's the way I feel about it. So, okay, I know that all of us learned at least one thing tonight, if not more. Yes? So with that, please, if you haven't already made a screenshot, make a screenshot of all of us, one of us, just of you. It doesn't matter, so that you can go put it on social media and tag me on it, so that we can all go back to that social media and keep commenting on it. Let people know how you spent your last hour at Monday Mojo and how much you learned, or what inspired you, or what golden nugget you took away, and how fabulous Mila was. So also go to the members group. With that said, I'm going to do something very odd, as we can say, is that we did not do any offers tonight, which we usually don't on Monday Mojo. This is not when we really make offers, but you can go to the members group and all make one offer tonight. You can go and present one offer tonight and leave it in the members group, whatever you want. If that is to set up an appointment, to sell a ticket, to sell a product, whatever it is. Do not forget tomorrow night. It is going to be fabulous. Dr. Joy Vaughn is going to be here tomorrow night with us. She is going to be talking about resilience in the storm. So we've all had our storms. I mean, it's true. You know, curveballs get thrown our way. Some are stormier than others, and we have to, it's all about how we react to those storms. She has a really great presentation. I talked to her this morning planned for tomorrow for our happy hour. That starts at 5 p.m. Central. That's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern. For Mila in Pacific time, that's 4 p.m. So no, 3 p.m., right, Mila? 2 hours. 3 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Because we have a little bit of everybody here tonight. So do not miss that. Go over, and you should have all received an email how to register for the events this week. Do not miss that event. It's going to be great. And then Wednesday night, we have our next Millionaire Marketplace, and Dr. Pat Rogers is going to do some more business strategies with us about Zoom and some other things. And then we're going to go right into our marketplace after that. So, Mila, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. Everyone, bring a guest tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Everybody waves.
Bye now.